All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. All right, first thing is flag salute.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the call to order was at 7:15. Roll call.
Ms. Bollenbacher?
Here.
Mr. Chandler is absent. Ms. Compatella?
Here.
Mr. Lavasser?
Here.
Mr. Marks?
Here.
Mr. Oliverio?
Here.
Mr. Rodilla?
Here.
Mayor Perry?
Here.
Solicitor Jewart?
Here.
Engineer Harkeen?
Here.
And I am here myself. We have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, the consent agenda on the OneDrive were the minutes from March 24th and also the special meeting March 29th. The bill list for April 14th was also posted. So looking for a motion to approve April 14th, 2022 consent agenda.
So moved.
Justin,
Second.
Kirsten, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right, passes. Public comments on agenda items. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue appearing on today's agenda. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Comments on non-agenda items will be taken at the end of tonight's meeting. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before council who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Please sign in or raise your hand on Zoom and state your name and physical address for the record. Okay. Anybody on Zoom?
No one with their hands raised.
All right. Next agenda item, President's Report. So I have one item. Ms. Compatello, Mr. Lavasser, Ms. Perry, and myself attended the ALOM conference last weekend, which was Thursday or Friday through Sunday. And Ritz Fitzgerald, the county executive, presented Crafton with the Banner Community Award, which I have right here, and we can pass around, but I do want to read it because it's pretty impressive. There's 180 communities in the Allegheny County region, and I believe there were 80 that received the award, which is pretty impressive. And this is based on a lot of the work that was done in last year's council. So I do want to read what it's signed again by Ritz Fitzgerald. It says local government and municipal authorities are incredibly important because they often have the most direct impact on the daily lives of residents. Being a local government official, whether elected or appointed or leading an authority, can be a complex and challenging endeavor. The Banner Community Program recognizes municipalities and authorities that are committed to professional development, prudent fiscal management, transparency, accountability, and proactive communications that engage community residents and stakeholders. This designation is a public recognition of the efforts for your community takes on behalf of your residents and businesses every day. We are fortunate to have a municipality that provides efficient, effective, and accountable services and are proud to recognize your community. Congratulations on this recognition. And this again is for Crafton Borough 2022 Banner Community. So great job by everybody. And again, thank you to prior councils and Doug also for the application completion. But I can pass this around too if everybody would like to look at it. And that is it for my report. Mayor's report.
So I have 2 items. Just wanted to mention that ongoing, Doug is working on reconciling the traffic study that was done a couple of years ago against our ordinances, and will be giving us some updates in the coming weeks about differences and where we may need to be adding some places into our ordinance, because all of our traffic control areas and parking permitted are all done by ordinance. So we'll be seeing that coming up in the next few weeks. Also, we do have the police department assessment study underway that the state is providing. We have Chief Metten from the eastern side of the state is conducting the study. It has been underway for a couple of weeks. The chief and Doug have been extremely responsive to him. And this just in around 5:30, he sent us an update congratulating everybody for getting such thorough information and that he's working on assessments. And he says that next step that he will be planning a site visit to the borough. So we're really looking forward to that because that is actually something I had reached out to the program director about, and we weren't clear if we were going to get one. So that's coming along quite well. And that's it from the mayor's office.
Do we know when that report will be finalized?
We don't have a date yet. I expect that we'll have one very soon.
Thank you. Great. Engineers report.
No updates on the report that was provided.
Okay. Any question, excuse me, sorry, any questions for the mayor or for the engineer? Okay, solicitors report.
No report from me tonight. Thank you for having me in place of Steve.
Thank you. Managers report.
Nothing further than what was submitted.
Great. All right, we're going to go through the standing committees. The first one is Finance and Administration, Ms. Perry.
So the first order of business is to float a motion to approve the real estate and road tax refunds. These are this pretty standard where applications are made for refunds for various reasons. And we have a total of $3,406.52 as presented and submitted by Jordan Tax. So if we could, someone could motion that.
So moved.
Mr. Rodella. Second.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Marks.
Any
discussion?
questions?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right. Motion passes.
Okay, the next thing that we're going to cover tonight is the bond infrastructure project funding report. This is a sheet that we have been maintaining since we applied for the bond, and it was originally designed to give the bond funders an idea of what our plans were for the bond funds. Now, this is a iterative kind of process, and what we have been working on in the Finance Committee, and then again today, pretty extensively in the engineering meeting, is to get this updated and revised so we have a more up-to-date picture of where we are. I submitted this afternoon after the engineering report an update from the file that that was put on OneDrive yesterday, and Doug did, so we emailed the update out, and the update is also available on the OneDrive. So the biggest points here are the fact that we have adjusted a number of the committed projects that are underway to more accurate numbers. And the biggest one is the Crafton Boulevard project, which actually came in considerably under the estimate. And then we've had a number of things going on that better for the engineers and the infrastructure committee to talk about. I want to just concentrate on the numbers. So basically, we have come under the original budget. Our grant matches have been will be a little bit more than we had anticipated. So our share of this project is going to be somewhat lower than we anticipated. We've also moved the Phase 2 Streetscape up, and in the version that we've sent over, we've moved it up to the committed. This is something that Infrastructure Committee is going to be talking about in a little more detail. This was originally planned, but was put as a separate project. So we've put that up there to model what the numbers would look like if after discussion tonight and later in the month that you vote to move forward with that. So you've got a good idea of how that's going to impact everything. The other thing that we did were there were a number of projects towards the bottom that had been put up as kind of placeholder sample projects, and in discussion and agreement across the committee, the Infrastructure Committee and the engineers, we've zeroed those out so that everybody here is clear that we really have not got the kinds of numbers that we had on those specific committees or specific projects. And the biggest takeaway is that all in with everything that's on here, we are still $1.8 million to the good. So there is still a fair bit of room to be looking at strategic things that this council is going to want to be doing in the next couple of years. So the other thing is that the Finance Committee is being charged with, now that we are all in agreement with where this is to keep this up to date and to give council a regular update on this anytime there are changes in it. Does anybody have any specific questions for me?
Did this info go out with the meeting minutes or anything? As far
Pardon?
as did this go out to the public at all, or no? Okay.
No.
Did we plan on sharing?
This is really kind of a working document. I think council's going to have to talk about that, but because it's the sort of thing that's a worksheet, I think it's a little bit difficult. We can put specific information about projects and that sort of thing, but
Yeah, I think we have a lot of this that we do in the Courier too. So a lot of it is outlined, not to this detail, but I would say that we would probably need a spot on the OneDrive for it to be continually updated so the council can go in there
Always
at
see
any
it.
point rather than seeing just one that's a point in time. So maybe let council know where that will be on the OneDrive stored so that every time it's updated, everybody can just go in and take a look and it'll be an accurate view at that point.
I'm sure that Doug will be happy to do that for us.
And I did want to comment that this is a very impressive report and extremely helpful. So I do want to commend Ms. Perry and the Finance Committee for putting this together, and Mr. Sample.
All right. And then the specific questions about the various projects that are up, Engineer and Infrastructure Committee can address better than I. All right. And then we have, I did mention the police study. The Public Works study has just gotten underway. Is that correct, Doug?
Yeah, he has met with the employees, and he's Mr. Daly has
Right.
indicated that he expects to have a draft plan to us at the end of the month.
Okay, very
So-
good. And then the administrative assessment, did we get an update from, are they still looking at
Mid-May.
Mid-May?
Mid-May for a draft report to council.
All right, and that's it for my committee.
Right. Any questions? Okay. Next is Community Services and Infrastructure, Ms. Compatello.
Sure. The first thing on the Community Services and Infrastructure agenda is the Crafton Parks Master Site Development Plan. It is posted online as a draft. It's open for comments through April 17th. So it'll be open for comments through the weekend still. The link that's included in the agenda is available for anyone, council or residents, to go and leave their comments on that draft plan. The next step beyond that is they will look at our comments. We may need an additional meeting with our consultant If there are a lot of comments, I don't know until that comment period closes, whether that will be needed or not. And then they will finalize their plan, and that will be on our agenda likely in May to approve the final plan. The next item on the agenda, the SHACOG joint bid. I'm going to ask Mr. Lavasser to present that one.
Thank you. This is a regular annual business. SHACOG joint bid for O&M CCTV inspections and cleaning year 12 bids were received and opened on March 23rd, 2022. It is recommended the contract be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder, State Pipe Services, in the amount of $294,300. The contract will be between SHACOG and the successful low bidder. Although SHACOG is the official contracting entity, since this activity is being undertaken on behalf of municipalities participating in the program, it will not undertake this obligation without the concurrence of these municipalities. Crafton's estimated share of the bid of the project is $58,650. Any questions? And again, this is regular business. This is how we identify defects in the system and helps us with our preventive maintenance program.
So I will make a motion to authorize the interim manager to send a concurrence letter to the SHACOG for them to enter into a contract with State Pipe Services Incorporated in the amount of $394,300 for the CCTV inspections and cleaning year 12.
So moved.
Mr. Marks,
Second.
Mr. Lavasser. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
All right, third item on the agenda for my committee. The zoning RFP interviews are scheduled for April 18th. We had 3 firms submit bids, and all 3 have been recommended by the Joint Planning Commissions to go to interview. And so the interview committee is appointed by both of the municipalities, Crafton and Ingram, have each appointed members to an interview committee, and that committee will be interviewing all 3 firms on next Monday, April 18th. Those will be recorded, and the notes and the recordings will be made available to council.
Do you have an idea of when you'd be able to present recommendation?
I expect that to be on our agenda at the next council meeting on April 28th.
Before we move on to the next one, I think that solicitor had recommended that we mention that we did have an informational workshop.
Yeah, we had our engineering meeting today with the engineers. So the community services and infrastructure group met with the engineers, and we had a workshop, and no deliberations were had. So
Right, the next item on the agenda is the Broadhead Sewer Separation Project Overview. I believe the engineer has some items to present on that to kick that off.
Can you guys hear me? So this is just a good overview of the Broadhead Separation Project. On April 1st, I walked the site with the engineering committee. We walked the limits of the project just so that we can all be on the same page as to what we're proposing going forward here. Because right now we're working on our plans. We're pretty far along, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody agreed what we were doing, what our limits were, because once we start moving forward and going towards Alcosan, we have to have everything submitted by the end of June. So starting out, can you guys see my mouse? This is the discharge point of the new stormwater system that we're creating. So we're going to be discharging over on Chartiers Creek. As you work your way up the trail, you can see we're going to be improving the trail coming up here. Crafton Boulevard and Broadhead Avenue. So the dark shaded area. We're going to be putting in a main storm trunk line down Broadhead Avenue and on Crafton Boulevard. And on Crafton Boulevard and Broadhead Avenue, we're just proposing to pretty much put everything back in place. So we're going to put in a new separated storm line. separate all the existing catch basins that are there from the combined system and put them into this new separated storm line. And then we're going to come back on Broadhead and Crafton Boulevard and just mill and overlay the roads, just as they are now. We are going to be putting some of that pipe in between the neighbors, all these driveways along here, just because there are some other utilities at the other side of the road. So we had to go on the residential side. So we will have to restore all those driveways and gravel areas that we impact. Once you go up Warren Street, that's a street where we're proposing a full depth reconstruction of the road. So that's going to be full removal of the existing pavement and bricks that's there, full removal of the concrete sidewalks, concrete curbs, and then we're going to be going and installing a brand new separated storm system, new catch basins, new manholes, new pipe, and then putting back the road as a paved bituminous road with concrete curbs and then concrete sidewalks. So you can kind of see here, pretty much most of the sidewalks on Warren here on both sides, removal and replacement of that. Once we get onto Park Street, same idea, full removal of the road, installation of the separate storm system, replacement of catch basins, manholes. So we tie it all into a new separated line, and then removal of the entire paved area, removal of curb, sidewalks, and then installation of all new hardscape. And for Park Street, we're going to go from Broadhead Avenue all the way across North Linwood and then down, connect down onto North M. Culture Street, same thing. We're going to go ahead, remove all the bricks there and have a new paved road, new concrete sidewalks, new concrete curbing, and a new separated storm system. So you can see that the lines are going to come down here and hit our main trunk line for all this. And then on the backside here, the water is going to come this way, and it wraps around North Emily all the way around Grinnell, and we bring it this way, and it comes over this way. So there's a high point on North Linwood. Everything's flowing this way. We're catching it. Backside, we're coming around North Emily, Grinnell, and catching it. So the other road, the backside here of North Emily, just milling and overlaying here. As we're coming down towards North Linwood, we're going to go ahead and do a full removal of the pavement here, and same thing, just continue a separated storm line through there. Replacement of curbs, sidewalks, ramps, driveway, whatever we hit as we're going through, we're going to be replacing it with new hardscapes. And then as we come through Grinnell, same thing, removal of the bricks through here, and then just full pavement installation, new sidewalks, new curbs come through here. And then Belvedere, same idea, removal of the brick. Belvedere comes up to a high point somewhere around here. So we're able to catch the catch basins that are here near this little alley, get the catch basins there, separate that, and all of this coming down the hill. Same idea, we're going to separate it, we're going to catch it and bring it down, and all this stormwater is going to come this way. So everything's coming down, and then eventually it's going to come down and discharge into Chartiers Creek. We already got a permit for a discharge point here from the Allegheny County Conservation District and the DEP. So that's already in place. And what we're doing is we're just going ahead and kind of everything together and getting ready for a submission to Alcosan. As far as the project cost is $6.5 million. And we're going to be separating for the Broadhead project 39 acres of 12 acres of pavement and about 27 acres of pervious areas that currently flows into your combined system. The gallon reduction for that is about 19,800,000 gallons, or at a cost of 33 cents per gallon removed. The estimated overflow reduction is 12,878,000 gallons, or at 51 cents per gallon removed. So those are really good numbers. Last time we met with Alcosan, the threshold for 85% match was being sub 60 cents. And right now our project is at about 51 cents. So, I mean, the target for this is that, you know, the hope is that we're going to get 85% match on the project. So out of the 85%, and then the other part of the project was when we met with Tim, you know, we had a couple years ago, we had presented various studies of different overflows. We had a project on Perrine, we had a project on Emerson. And when we talked to Tim, he said, just try to throw as many of your projects onto this Broadhead project. So what we did is, so this one project here is 6.5 million, but we also have another project in the same C22 And this is called the Perrine separation. Over on Perrine, up on the Clearview neighborhood, we have several catch basins. There's about 3 at the intersection of Clearview and Perrine, and then there's a couple other ones at the intersection of Bar and Perrine. All those catch basins right now just kind of come down and flow down into the combined system and work their way down towards Dinsmore. By installing just, separating these catch basins, putting in new catch basins, a couple new pipes, manholes, and same thing over here, we're able to discharge that separated stormwater into this existing little kind of drainage way that's here now. So we're able to separate about 3.2 acres of combined runoff right now that goes into our combined system. This is a smaller project. So for this project, the Perrine project, it's going to cost about $440,000 to separate about 3.3 acres, of which it's 1 acre of impervious and 2.3 of pervious. And you're going to get a reduction about 1.67 million gallons per year. So that's about 26 cents per gallon. Overflow reduction, same thing, it's about 1 million gallons. So that's about 40 cents a gallon. So this one also performs really well. And, Tim just said, instead of submitting 3 separate projects, he said, just call these the Broadhead projects and send them in as one. The third project that
Tim is from Alcazan, just quickly.
Yeah.
Alcazan,
Tim-
the funding
Tim
source. is
Prevost.
Directing.
Yeah, may I interject real quick?
Sure.
And this is all going into C22. That's why they're asking us to put this package together, because we're trying to focus on minimizing overflows at that overflow point.
Yep. Yeah, and the third one is a smaller project over on Emerson Avenue. There's one lonely catch basin that's there at the kind of the corner low point, and that ties into the combined system. You can see what's in pink, and it flows this way. We're going to go ahead and just put a new inlet there, put some new pipes, and then same kind of deal, just dump that into the existing stream that's at the bottom of the hill. That project is approximately $150,000. It's going to separate 1.4 acres, and the reduction, the gallon overflow, the reduction in flow is about 814,000 or 18 cents a gallon. And the overflow reduction is about 529,000 or 28 cents a gallon. So overall, these 3 projects are well under the threshold that Alcazan is looking for to give us an 85% match. If you take a look at in total, the total project cost for Broadhead will go from 6.5 million. Now we're looking at about $7,151,000. If we do get that 85% match, Alcazan will be providing $6,078,000, and the borough would be providing $1,072,000. So, and that right there is just the 85-15. In addition, we went ahead, Gateway assisted with the submission of the grant for the to kind of match this 15%, and that was the CPF grant that I think was going to go out today. Doug, was today the deadline?
Yeah, council actually has basically a concurring resolution for the submittal later on in the agenda as well.
Yeah, so we went ahead and submitted for a grant for $991,000 to kind of cover that 15%. That $991,000 was based off of just the 6.5 million. But when we add a couple more here, these other 2 projects, it really, the borough has to pay up $1,072,000. I know that grant that we submitted for, the max was $1 million. So we were pretty much at the max. So this project here could potentially be a project that we do at no cost to the borough for construction, for engineering, for inspection. It could be all matched through both of these grants. And you'd get here on Emerson, we're not really doing much. It's just doing the replacement of the catch basin. On Perrine, we'd be doing, you'd be milling, overlaying Perrine. And then on the overall project, you'd be getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new roads pretty much. 6 of them would be reconstructed and 2 of them would be milled and overlaid. And as far as, that was the other one, sorry. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, or
Sure.
just to catch everybody up that hasn't been following for the past few years? The projects that the borough's undertaken have been, we've been trying to find the low hanging fruit, those projects that are most economic, that will get us the highest grant match from the agency. One of the things that makes the moving forward after we get these projects in the pipeline is as we move interior to the borough, it's going to be more difficult and the cost to construct is going to be more challenging. So hopefully these projects will really have helped us move the ball down the field with regards to the compliance component of the consent order, which is we're trying to go to, was it 85%?
Yes.
Right. So we're trying to, get to that point where we're capturing 85% and there's only potential of 15% overflows. So right now, we're going to be looking at the flow data that's coming in, and it will tell us how the performance of what the performance of these projects are. So again, I think the engineer has done a nice job, and I'll let you continue. Thank you.
Yeah, one of the other things too is when we did our walk on April 1st, we did talk about Rebecca Street here, going ahead and doing the mill and overlay on that road because it was a pretty bad condition. So we will add this to the project, and it's not much cost for the overall cost of the project. So. Yeah, and I'm sorry, and then we submitted letter of intent to Alcoasand on December of 2021, and then Tim wrote back to us right away and said, that this project is going to go through. You should expect an invitation to apply in May of 2022. So next month here we'll get the actual invitation, and then it's due at the end of June is when we have to make the submission, and then I think they'll go ahead and I think it's November, December is when they say here's the grant agreement, here's how much money you're getting, here's how much we're matching. So.
Well, so that was a very detailed report. So just to recap, we were talking about 3 different projects, but the intent is to bundle those in one submission to Alcoasand. But the engineer is working on refining and getting that ready, similar to what we see today, but they'll continue to refine it a bit, and it'll be due in June. And so far, what they've been talking about with this has a 15% match for the borough, which is roughly $1 million. And our agenda item that we'll get to shortly that he mentioned is another grant source that we found that requires no additional match from us, and we've submitted for the $1 million. So before we get further on that, are there questions on this, on the project itself, or questions for the engineer?
For Ms. Perry, are we going to show that additional grant on the spreadsheet? I saw.
So no, we did not put that in as a grant match because it is a brand new source. It's earmarked at the federal level, and it's extremely competitive. So it's really unknown how much of a chance we have. So I think we're better off to plan that we aren't going to get it and then be very happy if we get any portion of it.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I believe this is going to be Crafton Borough's first congressional earmark opportunity in a very, very, very long time. And this is the second year that earmarks have been back in Congress. So again, happy hunting, but we'll see.
Right. Very good.
Well, we could have ordered these differently on the agenda to be more straightforward, but before we go on to the grant, we have our next item, which is the change order for the Crafton Boulevard Streetscape. And I believe the engineer is going to kick that off with something to share as well.
Would you like to just shift the order of the agenda items?
Yes. Yes, let's do
Should we
that.
do that?
Yeah. Since you did the agenda for this, right? Yeah.
All right, well, we've just been talking about the Broadhead Sewer Separation Project overview, and we have been referencing the community project funding for fiscal year 2023. U.S. Representative Connor Lamb may request funding for up to 15 projects in his community for fiscal year 2023. This grant was announced on March 31st, 2022, and applications are due by April 15th, 2022, which is tomorrow. Based on the criteria, we recommend submitting for the Broadhead Separation Project. The project scope is well-defined. This type of infrastructure improvement aligns with projects that were submitted by Congressman Lamb in fiscal year 2022. There's a required 20% match, which we are saying that the grow funds from the Broadhead separation project will be the borough's match. So essentially we are matching with other funds that we've already designated. So we don't have any new match that we anticipate for this. This is something that Representative Lamb will be submitting for federal funds. So our application to him does not guarantee that he'll select our project and doesn't guarantee that it will be selected if he does submit it, which is what Mayor Perry was referencing, that we don't know what our chance is, but the opportunity to put in for this grant cost us negligible amount, small amount of the engineer's time to simply fill out the grant, but we have the project ready to go. And it has a max $1 million limit, and our match for the Broadhead project comes to just about 1 million. So we think that's a really great project to submit for. Put a little extra context in there, but I'm going to go ahead and make a motion. I move to adopt resolution 2022-010 requesting a grant of $991,758.49 for the Broadhead sewer separation project.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to make a comment. We asked our state senator, Wayne Fontana, and our state representative, Dan Deasy, to write a letter of support, and they graciously provided that. So thank you to our state representative and state senator for providing that to go with this application. Thank you.
Also, I'd like to mention that the engineer's office has helped us with some additional information, and before tomorrow, I'll have a letter that I am hoping the president of council and I will submit, jointly sign and submit for that as well.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, motion passes. I would like to say thank you to everybody involved on this project. This is very big for the community. And if we get both of the grants, that's pretty amazing to get $6 million worth of work all paid for by grant money. So good.
Well, I'd like to also thank Mr. Lavasser for taking the time to reach out to those representatives to get those letters done in very short time this week.
My pleasure.
All right, so then the final item, going back to item number 5 on the agenda, is the change order for Crafton Boulevard Streetscape. That project has also been underway for several years, and the engineer will give us some more information, but just to frame this before he goes in, this project was initially budgeted at 3.7 million.
Oh, the screen. You haven't been sharing it the whole time?
Over the past few years, it has it got some additional add-ons, and then it was put out to bid, and the bid came in under budget, and various other opportunities have been found to continue getting the most bang for our buck on this, and making this getting a little bit more value out of this fairly substantial long-term investment to improve the community. So the cost still comes in at 3.7 million with all of the additional value that has been added since that initial budget was set. We've not gone over that budget. So the engineer will walk us through the current status.
Yeah, so as far as the streetscape, we had when we were working on the separation project, we started kind of putting together this streetscape project here, which starts here over on Clearview Avenue. The separation is all coming up Clearview Avenue extension and Starrett Bar all through there. But we were trying to kind of keep the pipe that we had was coming down the road and going down towards the parking lot over at the school. So as we're kind of working our way through with our separation, we came up with the streetscape project. Over on Baldwick, that's where we kind of started phase 1. And we wanted to go from Baldwick down and connect all the way through to the Clearview Avenue, Clearview extension. But the issue was that we were trying to go out to bid, and from Dinsmore over towards, from Dinsmore on, this is a state road, this is a PennDOT road. So we would have to apply for a PennDOT permit, and timing wise, it just wasn't going to work out trying to go out to bid for the separation project and then trying to put this in. So what we did is we broke it out into 3 parts. We had the first part was from Baldwick to Dinsmore. The second part is from Dinsmore to Clearview Extension. And then the third part was the part that goes towards the left over towards the parking lot of the elementary school. The issue on that side is the fact that it's half the road is city and half the road is Crafton. So there also, if we were going to go ahead and submit for that project at the time of the initial submission, we would have to have gone through city permitting, city review, Department of Infrastructure and Mobility. So that was another reason why we didn't kind of pursue all 3 projects at once. So since doing this first phase here, we kind of were asked to continue with design and permitting of phase 2. We've gone ahead and done that, submitted to PennDOT. We're at the final steps here. We have to address one final comment from PennDOT, and then we'll be able to get the permit. We've gone ahead and kind of quantified these improvements. So what the improvements are we're going to have all new sidewalk. Where there's sidewalk now, we're going to go ahead and replace the sidewalk and provide handicap accessible ramps. We're also going to provide, the plan is to provide street trees, landscaping, decorative lighting, and then we're narrowing the road down. You can see how if you can see right here, the darker area, that's the new pavement width that we're going to have now. Existing is just, it keeps going. You can see this line here. There's a lot more pavement there now, and it's just like a really, really wide road. So we've gone ahead and made it a 1 lane that's going down towards the school, then the 1 lane that comes up towards Clearview, and then on this side here, we're going to have parallel parking, just as it is now, but we're just going to try to narrow it down a little bit and make it more of a kind of help with some traffic calming. So phase 1 already has the same kind of configuration. Phase 2, we did the same thing. We kept the existing driveways that are there. We didn't impact anybody's driveways. And then we have some parallel parking. Where there's a driveway, we maintain the driveways, and then parallel parking. We're proposing some landscaping in this area through here too, and then also along the other side. As far as we went ahead and submitted the quantities, the bid quantities to the contractor for a change order, and he came back and to go ahead and do the demolition work, to install the new curbs, concrete curbs, to install the new concrete sidewalks, to pave, to mill and overlay this entire road, to do all the line striping, and to also provide electrical conduits and bases for these light poles. The price came in at $267,000. We had in there as an add alternate for landscaping, and that was an extra $68,000. And then we also had an add alternate for the light poles, and that was $48,000. So I think right now for what we're proposing to do is for the change order is just to go ahead and do the base bid, which was just doing the concrete work, having the wires there for the future for the lights, and then doing the striping, restoration, and the pavement work. So that's going to be $267,000. When we first applied for this grant in June of 2020, our estimate for just the separation project was $3,832,000. Alcoasand awarded the borough, and the agreement was for 3.7 million. So they kind of were about 100,000 short. So they gave the borough, they said the project's 3.7 million, of which they were going to provide as much as 71% match, which was 2,647,000. And then the borough would be responsible for like 1,083,000, so 29%. We went out to bid for the separation project, and we also threw in their Streetscape phase 1, and the low bidder came in at 3,273,000. So about 600,000 short of what we had estimated for the project, not even including the Streetscape. And the Streetscape itself was 325. So if you take 325 from the 3,273,000, really the separation came in under $3 million. Since then, we've added change order number 1 was adding some of the extra work up in the neighborhood. We added some handrails, we added more concrete sidewalks and curbing. So we had we did have an add, change order number 1 for about 250,000. And then if we add phase 2, 267,000, it puts you at a grand total of 3,790,000, which is still a few thousand short of the 3.8, which we had estimated before. As far as grant offsets, we got the H2O grant for 250,000. The gas company is going to pay 20 grand for some of the restoration on Starrett Street, which we went ahead and did it, and they're going to give us the reimbursement of $20,000. And then if Alcoasand provides the 2,647,000, that's a total of potentially 2.9 million from grants, and then about 870,000 from the borough. So that's about 23% and 77%. Alcoasand may not provide reimbursements for the landscaping and for the light posts because that's not helping with stormwater. But as far as curbing, paving, controlling stormwater, I believe they will pay for some of the other improvements as part of the streetscape. The last thing I want to say is Moranti, whenever we went out to bid, we got 3 bids. One of the other contractors, Moranti, they came in at 4.8 million for the project, and the streetscape was the streetscape one was 400,000. The other contractor came in at 3,987,000, and his streetscape was 400,000. So I mean, right off the bat, with having the low bidder, we saved a couple $1 million right off the bat. I mean, we were at 3.8. The middle bid was almost 4. The high bid was almost 5, and we got the guy that at 3.2. So and then Jimmy and those guys, they've been fair with their prices. Even the prices they provided now for phase 2, it went up a little bit. Some items went up 25-30%, but in general, we still have a good price. We have good unit quantities. So if the 267,000, if we were to do that as a separate project, as a standalone project, you're going to be paying more for mobilization, less quantity, probably higher unit prices. Here, they're working through right now. They're working through Clearview Extension. They're going to work their way down and kind of just work their way out of the neighborhood down towards the park. I'm sorry, towards the elementary school, and finish the parking lot. And then the project will be completed. So, I have a call here with PennDOT here in the next couple of days, but I'm trying to get that final common address and then hopefully get the PennDOT permit. So this permit will be in place. Permit's usually good for a year, and then you can go ahead and submit. I think it's $15 to $25, and you get extensions for 6 months. So if we don't do anything this year, we do still have a permit that's active, and we'll keep it going until the project is kicked off.
So just a couple of things to add to that before we go to questions. When this started going into the exploration phase a couple of years ago, and the earlier engineering, there was a conversation about how this is a major road into our borough. It's a major gateway. It passes in front of the school. And if we're ripping it all up, can we build it back better and make some safety improvements and some improvements that bring it into alignment with the borough's comprehensive plan? So the engineers have looked at what's in the comprehensive plan and made a couple of those updates based on that to try to make it safer and a nicer gateway. The other comment is that Alberto mentioned landscaping and lighting. There is a quantity of $140,000 that were anticipated as a part of this phase 2. Those were pulled out. And we actually submitted in March for a separate grant fund. The local share account grant application was put in. That doesn't require a match from us, or it requires a negligible match from us. We think we have a good chance at that, right? We had a project that was ready to go. And so we submitted for grants to cover the $140,000 that would let us go in and do lighting and landscaping if we get that grant. So with that, are there questions on this project, which is also, this is just a status update for today?
Phase 3, we're going to plan to apply for the DCD multimodal grant again and get support from the city. And we're going to talk to them about their financial potential contribution to that project as well, correct?
Phase 3 will be coming next and will be the more complicated piece to work out with the city of Pittsburgh, since they own, that is the portion of Crafton Boulevard where they own part of the road.
Yeah, and that grant, Phil, I think Kyle was mentioning that closes in July. So we have till July to come up with a plan.
For this plan, are we losing any parking?
No, I'm keeping the parking the way they are. Yep. we weren't putting any new driveways. The driveways that are on the hillside, this one that comes up to one of the residents, this other one here staying in place, this one here staying in place. And then this big one over here staying in place. So we just went ahead and kind of just pushed the off-street parking, just kind of pushed it up a little bit and kind of just organized a little bit better.
And it's
Some of
actually,
that area is actually poorly used for parking because the road is so wide and it's unclear where you can and can't park. So we think by doing this, it will make it a little more organized and more clear and safe to actually use it as parking.
I guess I'm surprised that with the work we're trying to do with the Clearview Trail, that we don't have an entry point there by the extension on the corner. That's just me thinking out loud though, because it looks like people already walk across there, right?
Yeah,
We did talk today about perhaps adding a crosswalk.
Yeah,
In
that
that
right
area.
there. Yeah, I was saying, I mean, like you look on Google Maps, you can see the natural trail that has
and
developed.
actually, something I should have mentioned in the mayor's report is that we do now have a really nice gravel trail along there, and then a gravel coming down, and that has been put in to give the walkers, the students who walk down to the school and also to the bus stop to have a way to get around the traffic. So, we were talking about, that looks really nice, and maybe that we keep it there and continue on with that. And then as Kirsten was saying, we were talking about the potential of adding not just painted sidewalk or crosswalk, but brick crosswalks, because the other project that we were talking about, the Broadhead, has some really nice brick crosswalks planned. And so I just threw to this afternoon a number down at the bottom and it's probably high, for some crosswalks, the brick ones.
We did have an infrastructure committee meeting this afternoon. So some of those conversations about potential places that we might make additional changes or add a crosswalk aren't yet reflected in here. But the idea of using the bricks in crosswalks has come up repeatedly in the past and has been supported by the community and the planning commission. The borough keeps its historic bricks when they're removed. So we have a stockpile of them and have been thinking about ways to incorporate them in responsible and functional and contributory ways so that they can continue to be a part of the community. Even though we are in a position of removing some of our brick streets.
Then I think, Philip, you mentioned something about the quality of the bricks that we have.
yeah, what we have is a road grade brick from 120 years ago, and it's made of Ohio Valley clay. It's very high density, and as we know, those red bricks are very, very durable, and they're reminiscent of the past, and it would be nice to preserve them as part of the community. Just like we've also done with some of the sandstone, as you've seen in South Grandview, we're trying to repurpose some of those materials to keep that history.
So are we good on questions? Yeah. And I believe that is the end of my report.
Great, thank you.
So,
Whoops.
so the plan for this is a vote at the next meeting?
I'm not sure when it's going to be ready for vote.
Yes, we would have to vote on it by the 28th. So yes, there will be a vote on this piece at our next meeting.
Are there any questions from the finance committee? No? Okay, thank you.
All right, communication, recreation, and community events, Mr. Marks.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to meet since the last council meeting. We have a meeting coming up next week where we're gonna get a little bit into the details. I'm hoping to have a more substantial update for the next meeting. But Doug, do you want to talk about the pool hiring piece?
Yes, we've been getting applications for both pool and then public works summer help. The pool applications are being reviewed by the manager, and there will be a recommendation at our meeting on the 28th to hire. We have gotten enough lifeguards and pool staff, so we are not in a shortage of any sort. So that will be coming for a vote to approve on the 28th.
I know it was mentioned, not at the special meeting. It was either the special meeting or the previous scheduled council meeting, about the possible rotary digital sign at the Crafton Park. We're still discussing options and taking some of the recommendations that came in for possible modifications. So we don't really have anything to present tonight on that. And I think the cleanup is probably,
You want me to?
probably fits better in the announcements section, but
Perhaps, I guess what I'm looking for here from council is we have it tentatively scheduled. Can we confirm that? We have a paper shred event the week before that Representative Deasy is doing. And then this would be the following weekend where residents can bring bulk items. I can't bring any refrigerators, AC units, or paint. Those will be you can collect those through our current waste management contract. But for these bulkier items, we would have dumpsters and public works at the park to help load and facilitate cleanup for the residents. So I guess what I'm asking is, can we confirm the date on April 30th?
We need a vote for that? Yeah. Okay. Does anybody have any objections or questions?
sounds good. Thumbs up, straw vote, straw poll vote. Everyone looks good. Yeah, good to
Do a
go.
roll call vote. No.
Actually, can I make a comment just for
Sure.
the public? Please don't bring all your cinder blocks down. That's not nice. Okay, thanks. Yes.
Mhm.
And that's it for
That's it.
us.
Okay. Yeah, and the meeting is, the next meeting will be coming and there'll be more information.
Yep, and then we're meeting on Thursday next week. So if there's any input, questions anybody has, feel free to send them my way in the meantime.
Great. Okay, commission vacancy. Mr. Chandler's not here. Ms. Bolenbacher's also on the committee and will report.
Okay, Mr. Chandler and I have been conducting interviews. We've had a decent amount of applications, not as many as we'd like, but they continue to roll in. We got a new one this week, so hopefully they'll keep coming. We do have a couple interviews that we still have to schedule, trying to get everybody on the same page so we can get them taken care of. But as you can see, we do have a few that we would like to bring up this evening to appoint. So I'd like to just start with those, if that's okay. I'd like to put a motion out there to appoint Carrie Woodward to the library board for a 3-year term to expire February 20th of 2024.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
Mr. Lavasser, Ms. Compatello, discussion or any comments about Gary?
I probably should tell you guys, I probably should have prefaced with the applications we've gotten have been very impressive. I mean, from the ones that I have read, the people who have applied have some knowledge base that they're bringing to the table, which is great. It's not necessary, but it's certainly a plus.
In the process that you went through too. So these aren't just people who applied and we're presenting tonight.
Correct. These are people that we talked to the board or to the members of the committee who are already there, the head of them. They spoke to these applicants and then we had a brief conversation with them on what their plan was. So the ones that we have on here that I'm aware of, the ones I spoke to are on board for sure having these people. And I believe that's the same for Mr. Chandler as well.
Great. Any discussion on Carrie?
Yeah, may I ask a question? Just in general with the library appointments, it was pretty well understood that, once in a while they'll come back to report to council and there'll be a liaison to us as to the functions of the library and the needs, right?
Yeah, I can feel that because Colton asked me to be involved with that interview, and we made a very specific point that these two positions are the council's liaison, so that it's a regular member of the library board, but a liaison responsibility to council and to the municipality.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Great. Any more discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
And I'd like to move on to the next motion to appoint Craig Lahaki to the Recreation Board for a 4-year term to expire February 28th of 2025.
So moved.
Mr. Marks,
Second.
Ms. Compatello, discussion on Craig? Great, no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes.
Third I have for you is a motion to appoint Kristen Schooley. My apologies if I've mispronounced that one. To appoint her to the Shade Tree Commission for a 4-year term to expire on March 31st of 2025.
So
Any-
moved.
All right, Mr. Marks,
Second.
Ms. Compatello, discussion? All right, no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And lastly, I'd like to bring the motion forward to appoint Matthew Griner to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term to expire April 13th of 2025.
So moved.
Mr. Marks,
Second.
Ms. Compatello. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. Hope to have more for the next meeting.
And a
Can I
question.
just- oh.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Can I make one comment? We
Yeah.
have a lot of very dedicated and passionate residents here in Crafton, and also a lot of very knowledgeable and talented ones. And it's great to see more people volunteering for these. We look forward to it. And if we could perhaps have a reminder of how many vacant seats remain to fill,
18.
please apply.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I was going to say. We do have it that it's expired to apply on the website on March 21st, but people can still apply. We do have applicants. We're still interviewing, but we still have 18 positions to fill. And those are openings that are open all this year. So if you know people, especially council, you can feel free to recruit people, but also to the public. We do have a lot of knowledgeable people in the community, including everybody here. So that's how you can, a good way to get started and to get involved. And there's a lot of work done on these committees that come to council eventually. All right. Next, Council of Governments, COG, Mr. Rodella.
I don't have a report. Our next meeting is next Thursday in Crescent. So if anyone wants to come, let me know. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right, community announcements. I don't know where Crescent is.
Where is Crescent?
I think that's out by Moon. Yeah, by like Clinton, like that area. Anyone ever go to the drive-in theater out that way?
Okay, well, join Vince at the, and go to Crescent.
Please.
All right, community announcements. Our next meeting is 2 weeks from today, April 28th at 7:15. And PA State Representative Dan Deasy will be holding a mobile event here in council chambers. And is it confirmed 5:30? Or are we? sure?
It's confirmed for this week at 5:30.
Okay.
It's changed several times, but
Right.
right now it's 5:30 to 7.
Okay, and that will be in council chambers for the community and also council members to speak with him. As we know, he's supported us on that grant that we just talked about. So it would be good to, show our support from a council perspective and just to talk to him in general. So I encourage everybody to attend, including the community. And that will be again here in council chambers. The Crafton Volunteer Fire Department will be sponsoring the annual Easter egg hunt, and that is on this Saturday now. It seemed far away at 2 p.m. in Crafton Park.
I would like to add, I do believe that time may have changed, so please look at their website. I don't know if anyone knows more details, but I saw that it was changed
That was
to
a,
12 o'clock, and that is
that's
on
a
their
different,
website.
that's a different Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, there's a
there's another one.
Thanks for the
Yeah.
clarification.
So 2 o'clock is the one that's sponsored by Crafton. But yeah, so that is this Saturday. And also the mini golf is open
From 2 to 4
on Saturday only.
on April 16th,
Not
it
sure.
says, from 2 to 4. All ages, $1 per person,
Okay,
weather permitting.
okay,
That's on Savvy Citizen.
okay, great. Yeah, so it occurs typically the Easter egg hunt happens and that's over very quickly and then everybody goes to play miniature golf. So.
So
All right.
there, one more thing that
Sure.
probably most everyone, well, a lot of people are probably already aware that Clearview Extension is currently under construction and is planned to be closed for the next month.
Great, great, thank you.
Another point before
Yeah.
we close out for comment. Just want to remind folks that while we have various roads under construction, we have a lot of other restoration projects ramping up because the weather's getting warm and we're starting to get things moving. If you see anything that you think is a hazard, a vehicle hazard, a road hazard, please take pictures, report it to the administrative office and let them know so that we can get it documented and get folks moving to get it fixed.
Yes, anybody listening in the Zoom world, yes, manager@craftonborough.com. Any dangerous issues or anything of that nature, please notify us and we'll get them addressed.
Great.
There was also one other event that was referenced earlier that I think is good to come back to and state more clearly. The shredding event that DZ's office will be hosting here in Crafton will be Saturday, April 23rd. Doug mentioned that earlier, but just to reiterate that the date and time, it's Saturday, April 23rd from 8 to 11 at Crafton Park. There will be a shredding event.
Great. And any additional comments? Okay. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue. Only residents and taxpayers are permitted to address council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. We won't have any groups of 5 over 3. So please sign in or raise your hand on Zoom and state your name and physical address for the record.
I think we are good to go.
Good on Zoom. All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.